Alright guys, welcome to another Ville Outdoors video. It is May 18th, or excuse me, not May 18th, it's May 16th of 2025. And we are here in the Chesapeake Bay area actually. And you can probably tell, but this road I'm on is a little flooded. Now usually I can drive on this road and get to where I need to be, but that is not the case this time around. So I pulled up the car to the side of the road and we are walking down the street, or road, whatever you want to call it. It's just a pile of rocks, it seems. But yeah, we're gonna see if we can find any fish today. Particularly we are after a species of fish known as the Spotfin Killifish. It is a pretty hard species to find. It only lives in kind of high marsh habitats. Here there's some mummy chogs on the side of the road here. They're all spooking out from the brush. But we're after Spotfin Killifish, which are much smaller than that. They are the smallest member of the Fundulus genus and only grow to be about a couple of inches long. I think about 2 inches or so. So that is the fish we're going to be targeting. Hopefully we can find one. I was just in Delaware a little bit ago, stopped at a pond along the way and caught my first ever koi. So that is species number 204 for us. I didn't get a great picture of it, so you won't be seeing that picture. You just kind of have to trust me that I did catch one. So yeah. Yeah, I think this would be a little too deep for me to comfortably drive my car through here. Deep for my liking. It would be doable, but if I can walk, I'd rather walk. Other than the Spotfin Killifish, there are a couple different interesting species we can find here, such as rainwater killifish and sheepshead minnow, striped killifish, inland silverside, mostly smaller scale species. So we got the usual trout rod that I typically use. This is the Ugly Stik Elite 6-foot medium light rod, I guess you would call it. But on there we have a very tiny hook that is even smaller than the Tanago hooks that I typically use. So I'll show you those a little bit later. Right now we're going to get to our spot. So hopefully you guys enjoy the video today. So stick with it. Let me continue walking down the street here and we'll get to the fish. Alright guys, we have made it to the land of the Spotfin Killifish. There's been a vicious group of flies hanging around me, but we're gonna tough it out to try and find these fish. So let's pick a puddle and get to work. All right, so we have our rig here. We have a small split shot, and that little black braided piece, that is the Gamakatsu Ultimate hooks. They are smaller than the red line Tanago hooks I typically use. And this area here is the type of habitat we're going to be fishing. This is the type of stuff you look at and say no way there's any fish living in there, but this is Spotfin Killifish habitat. High marsh areas with these little salt puddles that sometimes at low tide might not even have any water in them, but the Spotfin Killifish survive in these places, and over the winter they'll burrow in the little sediment pockets and hide themselves over the winter, and it's still damp enough where they're able to survive. They'll also use crab burrows and burrow down that way, but we're going to see if we can catch one on hook and line here. It might be easier said than done, but I'm going to give it a shot, see what happens. All right, guys, we just got a fish here. Very, very tiny killifish. I can't tell if this is a mummy chog or a spotfin killifish right away. I kind of think it's our target spotfin killifish, but if it is, it's a female and not a very colored up one. It doesn't even have a spot on the dorsal fin there. So we're gonna see if we can find a male, but this might be our spotfin killifish. We just have to confirm that. All right, guys, we got a more colored up one here, and I think I see a spot on the fin there. We're gonna take a shot and release this guy, but that might be the one we were after. Check that out, guys. That is a definite spotfin killifish right there. Look how gorgeous that thing is on the Tanago Ultimate. That is probably the most beautiful killifish I ever caught. That is so sick. All right, guys, everyone say goodbye to our spotfin killifish. He's gonna go back in the water. Beautiful. That fish was living in this puddle. So cool. All right, well, it's about a little after 9:30 in the morning, and both of my main objectives for the day have been completed. So now we can mess around and try and find some other fish. We'll see what we can get into. All right, we're at the bay side with a slightly larger piece of bait on, and we're gonna see if we can catch any other species for the day. There should be striped killifish over here. If I can pitch it out to where they're at. There's a school just down from me. There we go, that should get one. Yep. Let's see, is it a striped killifish? Oh, no, don't swim away. And he's swimming away. All right, well, good thing there's more over there. I cannot keep these guys hooked. There we go. This one's not gonna get away from us. I think it might just be a mummy chog though. Yeah, it looks like a mummy chog. Ah. Let's take a shot and we'll let him go. Guys, check out this huge snakehead that's right here. He's very curious, and he's gone. Wow, that was a monster snakehead. It's the first time I've seen a snakehead at this spot. That was cool. That was worth the price of admission, except there was no price of admission, so all right, we caught ourselves a mummy chog, but nothing much else happening on the bay side here. We got some clouds starting to roll in. There was a chance for a pop-up storm later in the day, but I guess with the humidity it can really strike whenever it wants to. So I'm going to do one more pass by the shoreline here, see if I can see anything that piques my interest, and if I don't, then we're going to head back down the trail, fish one of the salt ponds, and try and add some species to the day. So that'll be the plan. The good thing about the little bit of rain that we're getting is that the flies have disappeared, at least for the most part. I was getting torn up on this section of the trail earlier when I was walking down to the land at the Spotfin Killifish, but now that the rain's out, less flies. So that's good. Hopefully it doesn't rain any harder though. All right, guys, we made it to the salt pond, Now it is raining, but raining very lightly, so we're going to see if we can get some fish out of here. Oh, just had a bite. Oh, got a fish. It is very small. That is a rainwater killifish. So that is another species for the day. We'll take a shot and then we'll let him go. Another rainwater killifish. Need to find some sheepshead minnow. Well guys, it is not the species what we're after, but it's another fish for the day. I think this is a pumpkin seed. I believe that's what that is. There we go guys, we finally got our sheepshead minnow. Pretty looking guy. We're gonna get some shots and then we're gonna let him go. Alright, we just got our sheepshead minnow unhooked. He's got a little bit of the spawning colors going on. And we're gonna go ahead and let him go. Got a little salt pond. You can see all the little boils on the surface. That's all these little killifish is going crazy. Another species for the day there. We got an eastern mosquito fish. Trying to get a better sheepshead minnow, but this guy showed up. Got ourselves a second sheepshead minnow. This one I don't think is quite as colored up as the last, but still a pretty nice guy. It's harder to get these guys than it is the other killifish, because these guys will hang out towards the bottom a little more. Oh, this is actually a member of the pupfish family. I've been saying killifish a lot, but this is not a killifish. This is a species of pupfish, a sheepshead minnow. Alright guys, this is a slightly malnourished one, but that is an inland silverside there. We're going to take a shot and send this guy on his way. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. We added 2 new species to the life list, one which was not on video. I don't have a picture of that I can show, unfortunately. That was number 204, the koi, or Amur carp as people sometimes call them. And then here, down on the Chesapeake, we landed species number 205, the Spotfin Killifish. This is now the 3rd time I have fished this particular area, and this is the only time that I have come across and caught Spotfin Killifish. They're one of the harder top minnows to find in the area, and they were actually listed as endangered for a while, but it turns out that they're not as endangered as people think. They're just in very niche habitat, like those high salt marshes that I showed in the video, and they can be particularly hard to sample and even access at certain points. So at this particular spot, there's a boardwalk that cuts through the salt marshes that allows us to easily access them. So that's how we were able to land our spotfin killifish and come across some nice males as well in their spawning colors. So that was super cool. Highlight of today for sure. And then I made my way back over up the trail to this here salt pond, and we landed a variety of species, including mummy chog, which we call mummy chog at the bay too, sheepshead minnow, rainwater killifish, eastern mosquito fish, and some species of sunfish, either pumpkin seed or possibly red ear sunfish. And then we caught an inland silverside as well. So that's like 5 or 6 species right out of this little pond here. So that's pretty good to add to our total today. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next episode of the Ville Outdoors. Not sure what we'll target yet, but we're going to find out.